Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we're continuing our unboxing of all of Marvel United. If you want to know more about this game, check out the first video that I did here on the channel. It should have just come out yesterday, unless there was some breaking news or some rumor, something like that, that preempted it, or well, preempted this video and pushed it back a day. But this is a cooperative, just like the 10,000 foot overview. This is a cooperative superhero game where you're playing as Marvel superheroes trying to take down villains. And we're starting out here with the first expansion box that I have with me. Maximum Carnage. So Maximum Carnage is going to be, well, a box that basically has villains in it. These are the villains you can face off against. And I do open it up. I'm not going to show you all the little pieces in there, because honestly, you probably don't care about them. You may not care about any of this, but if you're still watching anyways, I appreciate that. Maybe you'll find something that does look great, because there's some pretty awesome stuff in here. And that's primarily with the miniatures. So we'll start out with our anti-hero. Can be hero, cannot. We have the living vampire Morbius. I'm gonna pop this open to make sure I tell you all the right people here. So we have these two. We have Doppelgoblin and Doppelganger. Want to do both of those together since they do tie together. We have here Dark Carnage. I forget if he can be an anti-hero or not. He's a different color than everybody, so I think maybe he's just special in terms of being a villain. We have, I don't know why he would be an anti-hero or a hero. We have Shriek. We have Scream. Look at all that symbiote hair goodness. We have from the Sinister Six, we have Scorpion. He hadn't shown up before. There had been one, and those are all the miniatures from this box. So I'm gonna close it back up here real quick and grab the next one, because we're nowhere near done with these different boxes. Generally in the box you're also going to get some tokens, some rules, and then your miniatures. So this one obviously was primarily villainous in nature, with Morbius being the only one who could be not a villain. Next up we have the War of Kings box. And this one has way fewer villains for it. And this is going to be one around... Oh, sorry. The Inhumans. Stick that over there. We again have our punch boards, we have our components and rules, though for the most part the rules are going to be fairly straightforward because the rules for the game are supposed to be very similar. So we'll start out with our villain here, Vulcan, followed up by, could be a villain, could be a good guy you face off with, Gladiator. Gladiator's kind of a good guy, just kind of mean overall. We have Triton. You can see the water translucent base. And we have Gorgon. And Karnak. So a lot of like the Royal Council. We have from the Inhumans, we have Crystal. So water and fire there in the background, two different translucent ones. Look phenomenal. We have the Puppo, the giant Puppo. We have Lockjaw. Then we're going to have Medusa with her hair. And finally, the leader of the Inhumans, we have Black Bolt. Honestly, the most boring pose, too. That's kind of a shame. So we'll get this one closed back up. Put back in the contents. Ooh, Gladiator, come along. You might be like, how do you store all of this? In a lot of space. Takes a lot of room. Then we're going to have World War Hulk here. And all these expansions, they are just that. You cannot play any of these by themselves. You need to have one of the core boxes. Now there are 4 different core boxes at this point, so you have plenty of options. In our World War Hulk box, we have some more tokens, locations, villain boards, and let's meet our villains and heroes. So first off, on the heroic side, we have Hulkbuster armor, or Iron Man Hulkbuster. We also are going to have here Hercules. So fun character to have in there. And Doc Samson. Definitely a lesser known character. We have Gladiator Hulk from, well, same world. The storyline of House of Cards is very different than in the movies. Here we have Ares. And the final, these are all anti-hero, so you can play with them as heroes or as villains. We have Sentry, or the Void, who's going to be showing up soon in the MCU. I'm excited for him to show up. It's fun to see some kind of lesser known weird characters showing up, and it's not like Sentry is a complete unknown or anything like that. As I lean forward to slowly put the cover back on so it doesn't make a weird noise. Next up, we have Annihilation. I actually read this comic, was it at the start of the year? Or maybe longer ago than that. The start of the year is quite a while ago, since there's not much year left. those over there. It is an interesting read. If you're looking for something cosmic, it's definitely feels different than a lot of things. So this one only has 5 different characters in it. Start off with our villain, Annihilus. Nice pose. The nice thing about these characters too is, well, I do want to paint them. You can generally tell who they are, like Nova, without them being painted. And a lot of the heroes have very standard colors on them and very saturated. They do it in the comics, I'm assuming, so it makes them easy to identify. Here we have Quasar. And then we have Phyla Vel. I guess I could call Nova Prime as well. So Phyla Vel character there. And then Moon Dragon. So missing kind of from the comic book line there would be Drax as well, but they already had Drax in one of the previous sets, obviously with the popularity of the I keep on saying Fantastic Four because that's the team that pops up in the news all the time. But with the popularity of Guardians of the Galaxy, it made sense to introduce Drax earlier. And they kind of keep them separate. So here we have Secret Invasion, where I believe with the rules of the game, it's possible for somebody to turn out to be a Skrull. Probably Rhodey. And man, this really does not want to go, this plastic. Most of the time, shrink wrap around board games just rips. But that one didn't want to. Get the trash out of the way. That is one bummer about, I mean, a lot of different things have the same issue, but you just end up with a lot of plastic. So let's meet the team here. We're going to start out with showing you 2 at a time. We have Skrulls, but not just 2 Skrulls. 4 Skrulls, and then we have the person leading the invasion, Queen Veronica. In terms of the heroes in there, we're going to have Ronan. Not Ronan the Accuser, Ronan who Hawkeye becomes. We have Maria Hill. We're going to have Quake. So a fun little addition there. And finally, we have Nick Fury. Now this is more classic mainline comics Nick Fury than MCU Nick Fury or Ultimates Nick Fury, who was always based off of Samuel L. Jackson. I love the fact that they had that already in place. So they could be like, yeah, Samuel, Mr. Jackson, would you be interested in this role? The character already looks like you in the comics. So next up, we have the Age of Apocalypse box. Some characters, and we're going to see a character in here who I believe was created originally as a villain, and so never had their hero form until now. So let's get into Age of Apocalypse. We have special rules for it. Let's start out with the villains. First villain is Dark Beast. So more of a gray colored beast. We of course have Nimrod, or Nemesis. I guess Nemesis. That's what they refer to it as. Not Nimrod, yeah. Nimrod's separate from that. The top is solid. Is Nimrod separate from that? I forget. Do I already have a Nimrod? I can't tell. And then we have Apocalypse. When they did the X-Men set, this was one of them where it was like, why isn't he there? So, right here, we have a Sabretooth. And then when I said Wild Child before, this is Wild Child here, not Dark Child. Well, I guess that was the previous video. Wow. You didn't even know I did that. If you didn't watch the first one. We have Magneto as a hero version from X-Men animated series, X-Men 97. Morph, obviously he's in the comics too, but I know him mainly from that. And then we have X-Man, which will be interesting to paint because of that eye right there. If and when I eventually get around to painting these, I will probably do another video showing that off. The issue is I also have about 120, 200, no, more than 120. I think 120 was like the second set, the X-Men one. So I have like 200 plus different characters, plus another 150 here that all need to be painted. Well, all want to be painted. We have Civil War. So Civil War is just a box with heroes, but it gives you a mode of play and that allows these heroes to play against each other. I mean, that is what Civil War in the comics was. So we're going to see all heroes in this box. With some special rules for how it works. Special, I think, scoring on the back for that. Or maybe a couple different modes of play there, actually. Let's pop over here and start with our heroes. We're going to start with Iron Spider. Which, yeah, a big mini. I like that one. That one looks very cool. Then we have Yellow Jacket. Kind of a classic look for him. Wonder Man. Powers and Macron. I'm excited for the Wonder Man series. We'll be talking about that next week. Well, this week, by the time this video is coming out. We have Tigra. And so you can check that out on the podcast. We discussing the live action shows coming out next year. And then we have Iron Man. And I like they got the little blast coming off of him. We have as well Hulkling and Spectrum. Could have gone with Photon as well, but I suspect Marvel wants to go a specific direction with that name. We have Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. And not last, but almost, we have Captain America, and they managed to get him throwing his shield by bouncing the shield on the flag. And in fact, they even went as far as the details for like the little straps on the shield. But the final one is a much bigger miniature. We have Goliath. So this is Bill Foster, I believe, character that we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head. Is he coming back for Thunderbolts, since he was a character who was tied to Ghost? I believe they've already had Ghost as well in the boxes, so we're not going to be seeing Ghost here this time. By before, I mean well before, like in one of the first two Kickstarters. This is the third one. And the final box we have, Galactus is coming. Coming of Galactus. Giant box, way taller than the rest of them. I think we can all guess why. And this one just has, well, it has Galactus, who they have as an anti-hero. And then they have 4 other villains in there. For their villains who work as heralds to Galactus. So let's see the not so miniatures, the rule book with some special rules. I'm going to flip that open so I remember everybody's names correctly. We have our pieces, and this is weird because we have taped on, yes it is. Which is okay, because I have to undo a twist tie on the bottom here to get to the big man himself. One piece of tape. 2. Where is that? 3. So, set that out of the way. Can't set it on the keyboard, like I was thinking about doing, because that would be a disaster. We'll finish up with the giant man himself, but let's start out with Terex. Now, you'll notice there is no Silver Surfer in this box as we go along. That's because they've previously done the Silver Surfer. And we have Fire Lord. Some beautiful fire on there. Less fire, though, than Nova. That one's a little bit hard to see on screen. And also, fire, we have Airwalker. So they did a good job using that kind of fire look. But let's meet the big man himself, Galactus. You might be like, man, that's a good size Galactus. There's another Galactus I want to get that is bigger. But if you look, they have him on the surface of like the moon or an asteroid, something like that, which I think it's supposed to be the moon with the craters, which really gives him the scale understanding of like how big he is. Even if you think about it, like, okay, that guy's that size compared to him. I mean, about up to his knee, a little bit shorter, but the scale they put on this miniature, not so miniature, this statue sculpt is impressive. But there we have it. We have all the expansion boxes for Marvel United, the Multiverse campaign. I'd love to be able to show you everything else for it, but I have the rest of it up on a wall because it's a whole lot smaller to store when you don't have everything in all the boxes. The boxes are up to here. So, I mean, from the tabletop, but still, that's about that much. That's a lot, and that doesn't include the boxes that I showed previously. So, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite miniature, or less than miniature, was from all of these. You can do that down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this content, please give the video a thumbs up. You can check out the other videos. Like I said, we have another video where I explain the game a little bit more, and I may try and actually film a playthrough of the game to be able to put up on the channel as well, just to make it a little bit clearer how it works, though there are elements that don't film particularly well. You can see a playthrough I already did on Malts and Meeple's YouTube channel, which is my board game focused one. But you can also check out the other videos that we have as well. We have videos on Marvel comics that are coming into my collection, Marvel trading cards, news, rumors, other collectibles. Plenty of content. Trying to have a video come out every day. And if you want to really dive into those news and rumors a little bit more, you can check out the podcast that comes out at the start of every week. You can find it here on YouTube. Click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We really do appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel and listens to the podcast, checks out the videos. Again, thank you so much for doing that. Then click on the podcast tab, or you can find the podcast wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, we'll see you next time.